In 2022, Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner held a press conference where he directly addressed members of the violent street group known as CCK, warning them that an indictment was on the way. The message was clear. Law enforcement had been building a case and their time was running out. Shortly after that conference, on December 19, 2022, authorities announced the arrest of multiple CCK members. Anthony Lacey Woodson, also known as Pistol P, was taken into custody for over 5 fatal and non-fatal shootings across West and Southwest Philadelphia.
Y'all mean to tell me this nigga was on some John Wick shit?
Jalen Mickens, or Skip, was also arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder.
Oh, them niggas playing belt to ass.
Nasir Wells, better known as Hefe, had a warrant issued for his arrest on 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder.
Damn.
Tyhead Cooper was arrested and charged with supplying the illegal guns used in the shootings mentioned, along with 1 count of attempted murder. Fabian Crieri, also known as Big 4 Times, who had already been disowned by CCK for snitching allegations, had a warrant put out for his arrest for attempted murder. This all stemmed from an incident on December 29, 2020, when CCK members Sabir Mack, also known as Booka, and Frank Smith, or Thule, were shot and killed while sitting in a car in Southwest Philadelphia. On December 28, 2020, at around 6:30 p.m., Philadelphia police responded to a double shooting on the 1200 block of South 51st Street in the Kings Essing section of Southwest Philadelphia.
People, including a teenager, are in critical condition following a shooting in Philadelphia's Kings Essing section. Happened at around 6:30 this evening here in the 1200 block of South 51st Street. A 16-year-old and a 21-year-old were both rushed to Penn Presbyterian Hospital. No arrests have been
cheese
made.
that car,
When officers arrived on scene, they found 2 males suffering from gunshot wounds. 15-year-old Sabir Mack, or Booka, had been shot in the head and was rushed to Penn Presbyterian.
The fact they got these niggas nicknames is crazy. That mean they really on their ass, really on their gram, getting nicknames and all that, or somebody telling on King Charles.
Medical Center, where he later died from his injuries days later. The second victim, 21-year-old Frank Smith, or Thule, was shot multiple times throughout his body, including the head. He was also taken to Penn Presbyterian and listed in critical condition. He also died from his wounds.
They don't be saving niggas at them hospitals. They be letting niggas check
after
right.
his uncle Thule and 15-year-old friend Booka were killed by 524 members. Pistol P launched a violent campaign of revenge across West Philadelphia. He was only 18 at the time. Prosecutors said he used straw purchasers in the suburbs to assemble an arsenal of guns and spent the next 7 months targeting anyone he believed to be affiliated with rival gang 524, even though none of the people he killed had anything to do with the murders of Smith and Mack. The first retaliatory shooting happened just 2 weeks later. Pistol P, Hefe, and 4 Times fired over 60 shots into an Airbnb party on the 3800 block of Parish Street on January 16, 2020. At around 11:30 p.m., police responded to the 3800 block of Parish Street in West Philly.
We are following some developing news coming in right now from West Philadelphia. Police there say someone fired shots at the first and second floors of a home in the 3800 block of Parish Street. Here's what we're learning. About 11:30 last night, officers say at least one person inside that home returned fire. We know that one bullet hit a woman in the arm. She's said to be in stable condition. Police tell us they found at least 20 shell casings across the street from that home. They also discovered 2 guns inside of a car that was parked in front of that house. Police say the shooter or shooters are still out there on the run this morning.
Damn.
According to investigators, multiple shots were fired into a house where a party was going on. People inside the house fired back, leading to a wild shootout. A 34-year-old woman was hit in the arm and taken to the hospital in stable condition. Over 35 shell casings were found at the scene, 20 outside and 15 inside the home. 2 guns were also recovered from a Toyota Corolla parked out front, which had been hit with bullets. The target of the shooting had reportedly left the party before the shooting happened, but the shooters were unaware. The second shooting took place nearly 2 months later.
Them niggas swinging
March
belt
9th,
ass.
Thule's birthday, Pistol P returned to the streets. This time, him and Hefe gunned down innocent 15-year-old Antonio Walker Jr., a standout
Damn, young boy was 15 and got cooked.
Athlete who was simply walking to play basketball. On March 9th, 2021,
Overcooked.
That evening, around 6:50 p.m., Philadelphia police responded to a shooting on the 5200 block of Pentridge Street in the Kings Essing section of Southwest Philly. When officers arrived, they found 15-year-old Antonio Walker suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and arm. He was rushed to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, where was pronounced dead at 7:36 p.m.
Incident happened last night just before 7 in the city's King Sessing section. A
They putting
15-year-old
belt
was
to
rushed
ass.
to the
I ain't even
hospital
gonna
where
care.
he later died. Police say the boy was shot once in the chest and once in the left arm.
We're getting information that this 15-year-old was walking south on 52nd Street with at least one other
That's a big ass
juvenile.
block to be spinning
When a
on.
car pulled up northbound,
That's a crowded block.
and the
52nd
shooter
Street.
exited the car and then began firing shots at that 15-year-old and the person he was with.
Police are trying to figure out if the 15-year-old was the intended target or not. Detectives are hoping cameras in the area will help catch those involved. This marks the city's 90th homicide in 2021.
According to investigators, the shooters were looking for a 524 member, but when they couldn't find one, they shot 15-year-old Antonio Walker instead. Prosecutors said Pistol P laughed as they drove off after shooting Walker. Police also linked Pistol P and Skip to an April 2021 shooting on the 1600 block of South 54th Street where 2 males were shot and survived. The most brutal act came on July 4th, 2021. Piston P and his crew shot 7 people in 2 hours, ending at 60th and Sansom Streets, where a community barbecue was being held to celebrate the 3rd anniversary
Yo, time out. They really on some Chirac shit. They on some Afghanistan shit. Like, they really putting belt to ass to the ops. Like,
of Sircar Johnson Jr.'s clothing store. They opened fire with weapons fitted with blue lasers, spraying over 100 rounds. On July 4th, 2021, just hours before a mass shooting at a cookout made headlines, Pistol P and Skip allegedly pulled up to the 6000 block of Walton Street and opened fire on 2 males. The victims were struck during the ambush, and the suspects fled the scene before police.
yo, they ops is lagging like crazy. Them niggas need to just stay in the crib and get the fuck under the bed. Because they getting a switch right now.
Arrived. Both of the victims survived. Then a couple minutes later, they shot another male who was
Oh,
treated
look at
for
the
his
lasers.
injuries.
Y'all see the
Then
lasers?
just
Y'all see the lasers?
2 hours later.
Yo.
At around 10:30 p.m., Philadelphia police responded to a mass shooting near the intersection of 60th and Sansom Streets in West Philly, where over 100 shots were fired during a neighborhood cookout.
Yo.
The event was meant to be a celebration.
Listen, they shot up a party and they shot out a cookout. This is just why I do not like being around large gatherings, because that's when all this stuff happen. You don't know who around, you don't know what they be getting into, and you don't know who coming through that joint. Somebody come through and switch cheese the crowd. You already heard that. These young boys is shooting in the crowds, and the shorty got hit by a bullet. That's why I don't be with it. I don't be going for nothing when I go to Philly.
A community barbecue thrown by 23-year-old Sircar Johnson Jr., or Sir Casso.
Like, I'm about to go do a prom in Philly for one of the rental cars. Somebody booked a vet for a prom. I'm bringing security with me. Like, I don't know who there. I don't know what type of time they on. I don't know who coming through that prom. I'm not playing no games on King Charles.
The owner of the local clothing brand Premier Bondi, in honor of his store's anniversary. Johnson had invited the community out for a night of food, music, and unity. But as fireworks lit up the sky, gunfire suddenly erupted, sending people scrambling for cover. Witnesses initially thought the rapid pops were part of the festivities, until people started hitting the ground. By the time the smoke cleared, 3 people had been shot. Sircar Johnson Jr. was killed on the scene. His 21-year-old friend, Salahuddin Mahmoud, was also fatally struck. A 16-year-old girl who attended the cookout was hit, as well as another female.
Y'all see what I'm saying? These innocent bystanders are really getting cooked at these events.
They both survived and was taken to the hospital in stable condition.
I don't want to get shot. Like, that ain't sturdy. Like, you can't even go to a cookout event, a party, a baby shower. Like, they is Swiss cheese in these joints.
Police said the barrage was so overwhelming they ran out of evidence markers while collecting shell casings.
Damn!
The amount of gunfire, along with the targeting of a peaceful community gathering, shocked even veteran detectives.
But the big story on Action News this noon is the investigation into 2 young men killed during a triple shooting at a holiday cookout in West Philadelphia. A 3rd victim, a 16-year-old girl, remains in the hospital in stable condition. Police say more than 100 shots were fired there at the intersection of 60th and Sansom late last
that's
night.
a bad
So many
joint.
bullets that investigators ran out of evidence markers. Action News reporter.
You know how many shots you got to drop for them folks to get run out of markers? That's crazy.
Catherine Scott tells.
Yo, they had a switch, a button, a crouton. They had everything. Like, how many guns was y'all firing?
The young man who organized the party and then lost his life.
Damn.
Thought they were fireworks, but they were gunshots. 3 people were shot last night at a 4th of July barbecue in West Philadelphia.
None of the barbecue. Oh my God. Oh my God.
2 of them were pronounced dead.
Niggas ain't safe going
23-year-old
nowhere.
Sarkar Johnson Jr., a son, father, brother.
That mean the ops is really spinning on these niggas. Oh shit, that's them brrr, getting busy. Like they like on their ass. Like they need to just wave the white flag.
Their husband and entrepreneur. Friends stopped by his West Philadelphia store, Premier Bandit.
Every shorty got that fruit roll-up dress in a repertoire.
To pay their respects today. He was one of 3 people shot last night at 60th and Sansom. Johnson and his 21-year-old friend did not survive. His friend's name has not been released by police.
Like, I'm praying for this father, I'm praying for this mother, I'm praying for this family.
This invitation posted on Instagram inviting the community to an Independence Day barbecue, an anniversary party at Johnson's West Philadelphia store. Family.
Or if you go to a party, don't be in the crowd mingling. You gotta be like on the side somewhere. Like don't be in no crowd.
And friends say Johnson never hesitated to help others.
He could have kept that money to himself, but he was giving back to the community. A 23-year-old entrepreneur and a city activist. What else can you ask for?
But around 10:30 last night, the shots started. People at first mistaking them for fireworks before starting to run.
That's how it
More
be.
than 100 shots were fired. Police
Like, oh,
ran
what
out
was
of
that?
evidence markers.
Whole time you
Johnson
getting
and his
blicked at.
friend were both pronounced dead. A 16-year-old girl was shot and is stable. There are surveillance cameras in the area. Police are hoping to find some footage that can help in this case. In West Philadelphia,
Man, ain't
Catherine
looking
Scott,
too good.
6 Action News.
Johnson, 23, and Salahaldin Mahmoud, 21, were both killed by stray bullets. 2 women were also wounded. None of the victims were gang affiliated. After the July 4th shooting, Pistol P quietly ended his campaign to get back for Booker and Thule, fearing that law enforcement was already closing in. Later in 2021, he was arrested with multiple firearms, some of which were later confirmed to be the same guns used in the earlier shootings. But at the time, he wasn't immediately charged for the shootings themselves. Instead, he was released on bail.
What?
That freedom didn't last forever because in December...
Back up. The cops had the shooter, got the blicks, and they let the nigga go? Oh my God.
2020.
He probably caught some more heads when he got out.
22, Pistol P, Skip, Hefe, 4 times, Tauheed Cooper, and other were arrested in a major indictment that finally brought the weight of those earlier crimes back to the surface. On January 5th, 2024, Jalen Mickens, known on the streets as Skip, pleaded guilty to his role in the 3 separate shootings that took place on July 4th, 2021, a violent spree that left 2 people dead and 5 others wounded. As part of his plea deal, Skip cooperated with authorities, attempting to shift the bulk of the blame onto Pistol P in hopes of reducing his own sentence. But despite his cooperation, the court wasn't lenient. He was handed a heavy sentence, 22.5 to 50 years in state prison. Before the sentence was finalized, Skip, dressed in a red prison jumpsuit, turned slightly in his seat to face both his family and the grieving families of his victims. His voice quiet, he offered a brief apology. "I'm sorry to the families that's here," he said. "I can't go back and change everything that happened that day. But for the families, especially the mother of Salahaldin Mahmoud, it wasn't enough. Mahmoud's mother stared him down and made it clear that no amount of remorse would ever undo what had been done. You'll always be remembered as a murderer," she said. "You took my son from me." On March 12, 2025, Calvin Gatewood pleaded guilty to supplying Pistol P with the illegal guns used in the 4th of July shooting that left 2 people dead and 2 others wounded, another 4th of July shooting that left 1 teen injured, and the January 16, 2021 shooting that left a woman wounded. He is still awaiting sentencing. On March 21st of 2025, Nasir Wells, or Hefe, took his case to trial and pleaded not guilty to his role in the March 15th shooting that killed Antonio Walker and the January 16th, 2021 shooting that left a 34-year-old woman shot in the arm. In the end, he was found guilty of first-degree murder and attempted murder and sentenced to life in prison for the 2 shootings. He maintains his innocence. On June 3rd, 2024, Pistol P pleaded guilty to every that I mentioned in this video. On April 30th, 2025, Pistol P was sentenced to 45 to 90 years in prison for 4 counts.
They overcooked him. 45 to 90? Like, what?
Of murder and 7 counts of attempted murder. In the courtroom,
Yo, he was catching hats, like.
Harry Miller, Pistol P's uncle, said that his nephew was raised in a loving home, but struggled in the absence of his father, who was incarcerated for most of his life. His nephew's trouble started after the family moved
That's why
to
it's important
Southwest
to be in
Philly,
your kid's
he
life.
said. As the new kid on the block, Pistol P was relentlessly bullied, beaten up on the playground, and chased home from school. He got tired of running and started to fight back. And then, when Thule was killed, Pistol P began to mentally destruct. Sometimes it appears when you have no hope, no help, there's no excuse ever, but you take matters into your own hands, he said. Near the end of the hearing, Pistol P, dressed in a white button-down, tried to explain himself and apologize. Everything he did was a mistake. He was not raised this way, he said. And after losing 6 friends in 1 year to shootings, he was filled with pain. If I could go back
that's how it be. You lose your home, you just want to get back. Like, you need your lick back. Like,
in time and change everything, I would. I regret everything. I was young. I was in pain. His voice cracked and faded. He dropped his head down to his chest and shook his head. The judge appeared unmoved and quickly handed down the decades-long sentence. Pistol P said he would appeal. This is a really sad case for everyone involved.
Niggas don't be getting back on them appeals, or they be like 40 in and he just getting the appeal in back in the court. Like, them appeals don't be busting.
So many lives thrown away.
Like, I got homies in jail, like, niggas swear they come home, like, gang, you got 40 to 90, bro. Like, they overcooked you and roofed you, bro. Like, you're never coming home, but I can't tell a homie that.
Over nothing. Stupidity that could have been avoided.